Thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about the royals and Angelina Jolie. We end with our weekly feature, the comments of the week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 105. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra, I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So we're going to be off next week, and we'll be back on October 30th. I think we're doing like 3 weeks on and then 2 weeks off because of the holidays in November and December, but we'll tell you as we get closer to that. We need some time off. It's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Can't believe we've tried to put out 2 or 3 podcasts during Mercury retrograde.
It has been crazy. Like, I used to not believe in this stuff until I talked to more people who believed in it, and I saw that it was happening. In the past few years, I've really seen it too.
Yeah, like, I think some horoscope stuff is just so general and so vague that it doesn't tell you anything about the world. But, like, Mercury retrograde is real shit. Like, I have been fucked up for weeks ever since it started, basically. Like, physically I've been a mess, emotionally I've been a mess. The site had all these technical issues and
knock wood, they were on the back end where the users couldn't see them, but the thing that schedules our posts started failing. So you would schedule the posts to go up at certain intervals and they wouldn't work unless we went back into them and republished them by hand. And so that adds more work. Ugh.
Yeah, it's just been a complete pain in the ass. Ugh.
It really has. We're lucky everything's fine in the front and will continue to be fine.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
We might do some kind of upgrades. Who knows when that's going to happen, but we'll let everybody know. And oh gosh. In happier news, I got a haircut that's cute. And you got a haircut too, right?
Yeah, mine is just a trim. I got an inch off.
Same here, but you know, I needed it. You were saying that you wanted to go more radical. I considered it for a minute and then I'm like, no, I'm not messing with my hair at this time. I just want it a little bit shorter.
Well, it was the Mercury retrograde fucking with me. I was like, cut it all off. And then I had to talk myself off that ledge. I was like, no, don't do that. Don't take off 3 inches.
Yeah, I'm not quite at like Sofia Vergara level of never put my hair back in a ponytail and always have long hair because men or whatever her reasoning is for that. But I like having longer hair and I'm going to keep my hair longer.
I like having longer hair too. Just it's a comfort thing. Whatever.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Especially during the pandemic, I have been the queen of putting it back in a bun, and I don't even care anymore. I'm throwing on a ponytail or I'm throwing it back in a bun constantly now.
I need to learn how to do a bun. I need to learn how to braid. I just always put it in a ponytail. I've been curling it a lot. I got a straightener too, and I've been straightening it sometimes. But I got that out of desperation because it was just getting so long. There's nothing I could do with it.
Well, I just have like those real cheap, like CVS hair clips, you know, like banana clips and stuff like that. That's what I use for my hair.
Okay. Yeah, I have some of those. I use it when I dry it and stuff, but I use scrunchies. I use a lot of scrunchies. And I have the smaller ones that aren't like the obvious giant 80s scrunchies, but of course I got the giant ones too. And my son just got his hair cut too. He's getting his senior portraits done Saturday. So
how short is it now?
Like he's got like a crew cut. And he's had that for a while. He used to have really long hair when he was little. He would get mistaken for a girl. I remember that. Yeah, you met him. We saw Puss in Boots together with you, and he scammed you into giving him money for the video games when I was at the bathroom.
Well, I had quarters. I remember that. For some reason, I had a lot of quarters.
Yeah, he got you to give him some money. That's how he is. But yeah, he's doing good. He's super tall now, and gonna go to college next year. Oh my gosh. All right, let's talk about the royals. So this week, the big drama, and it was a manufactured drama by the British tabloids, was over whether the Sussexes were gonna christen Lilibet Diana in the UK. We heard like a couple of weeks ago that Prince William was the one who blocked their plans to christen her in Windsor. We didn't talk about that at the podcast because, you know, there are so many other royal stories that week. But that continues to play out in the press.
Right. And it's been happening for months. Basically, as soon as we got through the hump of the stories in the early summer, which was Lilibet being born and Harry returning for that Vakakta statue unveiling.
Oh, and Lily's name being bad.
Yeah, and
somehow.
the name. Like, those were all the controversies in like June and early July.
Yeah.
And then after all of those stories died down, it became, oh, what is going to happen with her christening? So that's just been the long running saga over the summer and now into autumn. People disagree with me. I genuinely believe that Harry did want to bring the kids back to the UK and have Lily christened at Windsor. I believe that story.
And they're close to his grandma, and they talk about it. They've talked about it on the Oprah special.
And I totally believe that he would want to introduce his daughter to his grandmother. That makes perfect sense to me. I think everything else is just the tabloid bullshit of, William says no, and the royal aides tell him that he can't come, and everyone's freaking out because is Meghan gonna come, and this isn't happening, or this is happening, and it's Meghan's fault.
It's Meghan's fault, right? Yeah, yeah. It got so bad that they issued a statement about it. And they just said that they were still finalizing the plans for Lily's christening, and any other reporting was, quote, mere speculation. Very simple, brief statement from them.
Yeah, Salt Island is still freaking out about that. I saw the Daily Mail has another story about it. And there's no new information.
Oh my gosh. So they're punching themselves out, as you say. I like when you write like that. It's so cute. I haven't heard that before you started using it. I'm sure it's a saying. I just haven't heard it. But while they were freaking out about that, then Harry and Meghan announced a partnership with this investment firm called Ethic, which has the sustainable ethic investing. And it's just a nice fit for them because that's their main cause. And I'm sure that this company is going to skyrocket now that they've joined it. I mean, we just heard that Better Up, their valuation doubled after Prince Harry joined.
More than doubled, actually.
Oh, wow.
I just couldn't fit that into the headline. It more than doubled. They got hundreds of millions of dollars in new investment. Better Up did. And I would assume that the same thing will happen with Ethic. That more investors will be curious and they'll actually seek out Ethic and say, okay, well, I have these assets. Where should I put them?
Yes.
And I mean, Ethic is not the only investment firm or hedge fund, whatever we're calling it. They're not the only ones experimenting with this, ethical investment strategy.
Yeah.
But I like that Harry and Meghan, they really did go to a smaller firm where they can make an impact, where they can take on those titles of impact, whatever that is. Impact ambassadors or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I didn't write it down. I don't remember, but that's nice that they joined them, and they need to keep making money and making deals.
Yeah.
It took the British press like a few days to complain about that, and their response was pretty weak. Oh, I like what you wrote, how all they could do was call them dirty hippies and complain about their dog. Because it was like what they did with Biden.
That's all they could do for the first 2 days before they actually did any research on the firm. They were like, oh, these people are just hippies. They're calling themselves hippies. Let's point and laugh at them because they're hippies and they have a dog.
They care about the world. And then when they finally did come back with something that had any substance, although it's very little, they complained that Ethic has holdings in Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Because, of course, Harry and Meghan have talked about the perils of the internet and the algorithms that these social media companies use. And, okay, like...
Yes, it doesn't make any sense. You can be critical of social media and still be in a hedge fund which invests in social media companies.
Right.
Social media companies are largely the future of investment.
And they're a solid
they're blue chip.
Moving forward, yeah. So whatever, it's just so ridiculous. So are they hippies or are they capitalists that are investing? Whatever. So then William has that Earthshot Prize award ceremony, which is this Sunday. And they're trying to drum up interest in that. And everyone's like, okay.
Well, yeah, it's going to be on Sunday, which is when this podcast will be released.
No, I put him out Saturday now, but yeah.
Yeah, the weekend, we'll say. And there really hasn't been a build-up to this award ceremony. There hasn't been, event every week. It's just been this event that we're going to talk about, the Generation Earthshot, and then William giving a handful of interviews, and that's it.
Maybe they will highlight, some activists who we haven't heard of before and some people who are coming up with solutions that we haven't heard of before. But
I'm sure that will be part of the award ceremony, but I'm just saying, do some advance work. Draw some interest to this award show that is your big, keen project.
Well, they think they're enough. Like, they think if they show up for stuff and smile and gesture and give really weird quotes, that it's fine. And that's their whole strategy with this.
Yeah, it's half-assed. And it's part of the larger conversation that we're having now about William and Kate. We know that they have this huge staff at Kensington Palace. They have people making fan cams of them.
Fan cams.
It's just ridiculous. And why is everything so half-assed? Why is their staff work so bad? Why is everything so poorly organized? And this Generation Earthshot, which I keep saying is Keen Shot, I ruined that for myself.
No, people love that. I'll play that clip later from Zoom. People love that. But yeah, they did that Wednesday with kids. So that's why they called it Generation Earthshot.
And it was basically William and Kate sitting around looking at kids' science projects. So they had photographers in that one room where they were with the kids, but they didn't have any photographers set up outside the event for when they were entering these like Kew Gardens. There was no advance announcement about this big thing that Will and Kate were going to do together.
Maybe that's because they didn't do it till last minute, like we were talking about last week.
Yeah, but again, that's just terrible staff work. I mean, there's the issue of William and Kate and their marriage being terrible, allegedly. All of that stuff. But then there's just like their palace staff, their office staff is incompetent.
But look who they're working with. Like, that's what we were talking about last week. Like, the staff might be incompetent, but when they plan stuff and do it ahead, who knows if they can depend on Will and Kate to actually do it.
Yeah. But I also think it just makes everyone involved look bad. It makes Will and Kate look bad. It makes the staff look bad. And a lot of, well, not a lot, but like a handful of those people, they used to work for Harry and Meghan. Will and Kate hired them away from Harry and Meghan when the Sussexes left.
So we know the problem's not the people, it's Will and Kate.
I don't even know anymore, but yeah, it's just terrible.
So yeah, the press tried to make that into a thing where Kate and Will were upstaging the Sussexes, which did not happen. Okay.
The whole idea of them upstaging was because Harry and Meghan had made the announcement about ethic. And they didn't do an event around their announcement that they're investing with this hedge fund.
Whatever.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So you wanted to talk about the story that came out today about William's quotes on space tourism. Do you want to read that, or do you want me to read that?
I can read it. I mean,
I'm going to put the music on it, so...
All right. This is William. We need some of the world's greatest brains and minds fixed on trying to repair this planet, not trying to find the next place to go and live. I think that ultimately is what sold it for me. That really is quite crucial to be focusing on this planet rather than giving up and heading out into space to try and think of solutions for the future.
So he's talking about the space tourism race by the billionaires. Like
right,
Branson,
by Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson and Elon Musk. And they all have, their space programs, their private space programs. And William is basically saying what everyone else is saying, which is, can you fucking billionaires stop wasting all of this money and time and energy going into space and actually work to solve some of the very real problems we have here on Earth.
So that was the best quote he's probably given in a long time. It got him more publicity and press than a lot of things he said.
Right. And of course the royal reporters are like, oh, he hates that. No, that's why he said it. That's his big thing.
Oh, he hates that he got quoted on that and got press?
Yeah. That he got all these headlines, of course. William's not going to get a cookie for saying something that everyone else is saying, but I'm glad he said it.
Yeah. I like how you covered that, yeah.
I think he's a massive hypocrite. I think he's a total asshole, but he's right on this one thing.
They're never going to point it out that he took helicopters and private planes everywhere because, So William also tried to distance himself from his Uncle Andrew and show that he cares about this, but the tone was completely wrong and off in these articles about it, because William is said to see Andrew as a threat to the royal family and a risk to their reputation, but not because Andrew is a pedophile rapist, because he's, quote, ungracious and ungrateful for the advantages of being a royal, essentially. Like,
right.
What? And this has been over a few different articles. Like, why would you make that, well, I don't like my uncle because he doesn't get that, we're privileged.
Yeah, because he's not grateful enough. Yeah, I agree with a lot of the commenters who are like, he's trying to make some sort of pointed argument against Harry. He's just using Andrew.
Oh.
That Harry is ungracious, Harry is ungrateful,
yeah.
The royal family. Whatever. Like, I think both things can be true. I think that William probably was trying to make some sort of point about Harry, but I also think that that's how William really feels about his uncle, which is Andrew should behave differently because he's a member of the royal family, that he should be more grateful for his position. And William just completely ignores the fact that Andrew's been accused of raping a 17-year-old.
And that the investigation is still ongoing, although maybe not in the UK, but here.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about the royals on Zoom, and this is Karen, April, Alnaz, and Amira.
I want to say I really needed a chuckle today. I really enjoyed Kaiser's stories about Harry and Meghan and how unhinged everybody has been about everything they do, especially now they're focused on the christening. The whole thing.
Karen, you forgot to add the buttons portion of it. I could be reading her story, her article, and then she'll just pop up with something about buttons, and I laugh so hard because you don't expect it.
Yeah, I love the keen years, early, eager to be king. I love
the Keen Shot Prize. There's like no filter now. It's just like...
No, none. I'm sorry, Karen. Go ahead. I just had to.
No. Right now, it's like their favorite thing is to talk about the christening. And she wrote the Daily Beast article about how they can give their kids privacy that the Cambridges couldn't. I don't necessarily agree with what Kaiser said. I think both Harry and Meghan don't want pictures of their kids out there. I think she said, well, I think Meghan would be open to. I don't think so. After everything that she's been through and how they continue to harass her, I could easily say, you never want to see my kid.
I think she was okay with it when she was pregnant with Archie. I think she went into it understanding what it was going to be. But the moment they started showing pictures of her child as a monkey, she was like, no.
Yes. And the fact that, you take away the protection for an infant.
Isn't that the security, the titles, and that conversation of, how dark is your child going to be? I think that's where it was just like, okay.
And I think the security element is a huge part of it, people knowing what he looks like, looking for him. You're saying to them, you can't have titles for him, so that doesn't give him that layer of protection. Oh, and you can't have security for him either. But show us all the pictures. Where's he at right now? Like, no.
They were like trying to argue that Meghan will never show her kids because of, all of the drama and racism and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I just think that Meghan is a positive person. And I think she's so proud of being a mom, and she's so proud of her kids, and she would love to be able to show them off. I've always thought that Harry is the one who is more reticent about showing their kids in any way because of his memories of being a pawn in his parents' marriage and divorce. I think, if Meghan had her way, she would post photos of her kids, and who cares what the haters would say. She's so proud of her kids.
I think she would if things were different, like you were saying. If things were different in the way she was treated, especially by the press. But yeah.
And I guess Karen said the moment they started showing photos of her child as a monkey, she was like, no. Well, actually, Meghan wasn't like, no. She showed off Archie when they went to Africa.
Amira said that, but yeah.
She was still posting photos of Archie with Harry, for New Year's Eve. Meghan's very proud of her family, as she should be.
Should be, yeah. Yeah. And you make a good point. Like, she is always sunny and positive, and she's always like, everything's going to work out fine,
Yeah.
And it does for her, but she's gone through, I'm sure, countless more than she expected. But yeah, that's true about her. All right, let's talk about Angelina Jolie. So we haven't talked about this on the podcast yet, but Angelina's seeing the Weeknd.
Yeah, I think she probably is. I think it's maybe romantic and friendship and work probably all combined.
Yeah. So they were spotted on a dinner date for the first time in July. That's the first time we knew about it. Might have been happening before that. They went to a private concert in LA. They've been seen out together a few times since that. And they were even together at his house.
Yeah, they left the restaurant and then she went back to his house, I think.
That was in People magazine, so it's not just some speculation or paparazzi saying it. So he's thought to be trying to win her over, and there's evidence in his music. He came out with that song Party Monster in 2016, and you wrote the lyrics down. Do you want to say it?
Lips like Angelina, ass like Serena. Or no, it's ass like Selena, not Serena.
Okay. Well, Serena has a great ass. I was like, good.
Yeah, lips like Angelina. Everyone's obsessed with her lips. I'm not really into the Weeknd and Angelina as a couple. I don't think they make a lot of sense. But if he's trying to win her over and if he's actually being romantic towards her, I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Go get it.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I bet he's really interesting and smart and stuff that we don't know about him. I don't really follow him a lot or read his interviews. I mean, he's wildly successful, so.
Yeah, he's a great songwriter. I think he's done a lot of growing up in recent years. I remember him when he was first really becoming a major star and he was dating Bella Hadid. He seemed like an asshole.
Yeah.
He seems like he's changed in recent years.
You're really rooting for Angelina and her first husband, Johnny Lee Miller, to have a reconciliation. Well, we talked about that in podcasts 61 and 62, and you have been shipping them for a long time.
Yeah, so before she went out with The Weeknd, back in June, she was in New York with her kids, and she went over to Johnny's apartment. Mm-hmm. She walked there alone with a bottle of wine. And I was like, yes, girl, let's do this. I was so happy for her. And then, there were all these stories about, oh, no, it was just about their kids. And,
yeah, their kids.
Yeah, that's why she brought a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
But Johnny has always been, her old faithful. I mean, except for the years where he was married to Michelle Hicks. But before that, they were always super tight. And she always went back to him in between relationships. He was always there for her. They were always good friends. They would go out to dinner. I think that they just were hookup pals and,
So they were out to dinner this week.
Yeah.
In
and I'm
Beverly
really
Hills.
happy. I'm so happy for them. He was in England and Spain, I think, filming The Crown. Mm-hmm. And I guess he just flew into LA after he wrapped on The Crown.
I want this to happen for them. I want them to be like the new Bennifer.
Yeah. I mean, I love Bennifer. That story is great gossip for me. I love to cover them. Yeah. But Angelina and Johnny, that's my soul. That's my goth 90s soul right there. Johnny and Angelina were fucking hot in the 90s.
They're still so hot. They are still so hot. And we are praying that this happens. And you manifested specific things with Bennifer, like the rubbing the ass on the yacht happened.
So what do I want to manifest for Angelina and Johnny?
Write specifics in their articles, like stuff you want to happen, and we'll see if it comes true. I really believe we can get something out of this. I want to see them together. Oh, I want to see them on a red carpet together. That's what I would like to see. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty.
I think it would be more likely that we'd see Angelina go more goth, in goth 90s, very specifically, kind of regress back to her old form and just have a lot of fun with Johnny. Really go out to dinner and maybe go on vacation with them and the kids. Ooh. I think that would be very nice to see.
Vacation. I think her kids are old enough they can stay home with a caregiver and she can go by herself. That's what I want for her. So.
Well, I think she really likes traveling with her kids, honestly.
Yeah,
she likes
yeah.
exposing them to different cities and different cultures.
All right, so I hope this happens for them. So we talked about this on Zoom, and this is Zakiya, Amira, and Karen.
Do you think she's dating the Weeknd, or they're just like...
I think she probably is dating the Weeknd, and I think it's casual, and I think she's probably with Johnny, and it's casual, because she's mentioned that in the past, that they would kind of go back to each other in a casual way when they were both single. But they've always done that. That's been their pattern.
He's a dick appointment. That's what I see.
Exactly. And frankly, I think that's what's best for her. I think she needs to date around and she needs to feel beautiful and sexy again and start feeling herself again, because it's clear that her self-esteem with Brad took a huge hit, and I think there was a lot of emotional abuse there. So I think she just needs, let her date around, let all the men come and, let her milk bring all the boys to the yard,
Yes. Schedule a dick appointment with your ex. I don't see the problem.
So yeah, Karen cracked me up. We were talking and Karen wrote in the chat that he's a dick appointment. And I wrote back to her, you better say that because I'm going to put that in the podcast. So that's why she came in so loud with that, because I told her to say it.
I think he's more than a dick appointment.
Yeah, but still, it's funny to think of it that way,
And let's give Johnny his due. Johnny's a really good guy. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he is.
He's super loyal to her.
He's never been problematic in any way. And I know it's bad to frame it kind of negatively, but he's a white British dude. You know what I mean? He could have been easily.
And I think he's reasonably posh as well. And he's always been very good to her, and he's very good to co-stars in general.
Yeah, I want to see this happen for them.
No one has a bad word to say about him. He seems like a real sweet, low-key guy.
Yes. When he split with his wife, we didn't hear cheating rumors or anything like that. I mean, that might have happened, but they kept it on the down low. So, yeah, we've never heard a bad word about him.
Yeah, and after he and Michelle split, and I don't think we even knew about their split for a while, even after their split, I haven't heard anything about him dating anyone before Angelina.
Yeah, if he did, he kept it quiet.
He's very discreet, which I love for her. I love for Angelina. I do.
I want this to be real for them.
I need her to be with someone who isn't going to brief Page 6.
Oh, that guy. Oh, my gosh. How does anybody still think Brad Pitt is hot?
Yeah,
I mean, he looked pretty good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but
he annoyed the shit out of me in that movie.
He was annoying, yeah.
I fucking loved Leo in that. That's how weird that movie was. I'm not a Leo fan.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, DiCaprio is acting his ass off in this movie.
It was a good movie. It needed to be 45 minutes shorter, like all Quentin Tarantino movies. But yeah. All right, let's move on to the comments of the week. So you want to do your comment of the week first?
Oh, yeah. This is just about how half-assed Will and Kate are. How do you say her name? Eurydice? Eurydice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it. Eurydice.
I would say Eurydice.
Okay.
Eurydice wrote the Cambridges. Their vibe is half-assed because they are half-assed. Mm-hmm. Is Generation Earthshot a real thing? It's not mentioned on the Earthshot website. It's not even a bad concept, and it goes along with what Charles was saying about the younger generation's concerns. But it needed to be developed as a plan with intention and scope. Then they can announce it and have events. Showing up at Kew Gardens to look at a couple of potted plants is not just half-assed, but whole-assed.
I like that whole-assed.
Me too.
I never heard that. Yeah, they did it last minute. They're like, oh, let's do this. People think it's brilliant.
Let's wander in the garden and go look at kids' science projects.
I mean, the pictures were cute, but there's no cohesion.
The photos weren't even that cute. The kids didn't know why they were there. The kids were like, what the fuck? All
right, my comment of the week is from the post where Blac Chyna went on a rant at the airport in Miami, and she was saying, get the vaccine and stop being a stupid hoe. Basically, somebody asked her for a photograph, and she went off. I'm assuming She was like, oh, are you vaccinated? And the woman said no. And she was like, well, I'm not taking a picture. But of course, TMZ didn't report it quite that way. So Miss Margo said, I actually love this. Unvaccinated people are hoes. Thank you, China. And rawiya, I also have a person I can't pronounce this week. RAWIYA. She said, the public service announcement the people needed.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been in the airports in Florida and I've stared down people without masks. They don't make people wear masks in Florida. And I wouldn't want anybody who wasn't vaccinated or not wearing a mask near me. But
anyway, get vaccinated, people. People
yeah.
are still dying.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure all our listeners are, because why would they listen to us rant about this shit? But if anyone is hesitant, please
yeah, and don't listen to Kyrie Irving or whatever dumb fuck thinks they're like a martyr for the unvaccinated cause.
And if you don't want to do like a hardcore, just get Johnson & Johnson. That's fine. One and done. You're not as totally protective, but just get J&J. Who cares?
Yeah. And like at this point, I don't give a shit about your like, oh, let me be so precious about my vaccine hesitancy. Shut the fuck up and just get the vaccine. We are in October 2021.
I know. There's so many stories of people who are like, oh, can I get vaccinated now that I have COVID in the hospital? Nope. That's not how it works.
Yep.
I visit the site called sorryantivaxxer.com. It's stories of people who are vehemently anti-vaccine who are in the hospital or have died. And I don't revel in it or anything, but I find it interesting.
There have been some write-ups on the Reddit subthread of the Herman Cain Awards.
Yes,
that's the
thing. One too. Yeah, it's the same thing. And it's so easy to find this because these people are heavy Facebook users.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother issue, but okay. I hate Facebook so much. I think it should have been broken up years ago, but okay. Thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.
We don't need a Facebook rant on top of everything.
I would have gone off on Facebook. People who read me know what my thoughts are about Facebook.